I realized why I was in a mood yesterday, and the thought actually came to me last night when I was thinking about it, and I'm like, why am I in such a mood? Why was I in such a mood all of yesterday? And the thought was like, well, you kind of said it. The season's changing, and that means seasonal depression. And I was like, oh my God, of course. Every single year, this damn thing catches me off guard. And I'm just like, why am I so moody? And then later on, when I figure it out, it's just like, yeah, that makes sense. At least now I know that it's seasonal depression. Like before, it was terrible. It was like I couldn't even function. It's like I'll be up and down so much that I kind of just gave up during the winter, and I never understood what it was. And then, being the nerd I am, I stumbled upon some information, and I found out that seasonal depression is actually a thing. And I know all right, so have been diagnosed with depression, and it's something that I've been battling for a long time. But during the winter, it just always catches me off guard. And I decided to figure out what is causing it to make it always catch me off guard, because I need to know. I need to know. So again, being the nerd I am, I looked it up, and what came back from everywhere that I actually looked were three top things that made so much sense. And it's like, one was reduced physical activity. And I'm like, okay, I get it. When it's cold outside, we don't really move like that. And even though I go to the gym very often during the winter, I don't move outside of the gym. So the 1-2 hours that I spend in the gym is not enough to move throughout the entire day. And that makes sense. The next one was like disrupted sleep patterns. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. I haven't been sleeping good lately, and the time change. The time change. Like 5 o'clock and it is dark outside. I know I'm not the only one who does not like this damn time change. And that was an adjustment when I actually came to America, because we don't have that in Jamaica. And the reason I found out we don't have that in Jamaica, because my grandmother told me that we had it years ago, but something tragic happened where this schoolgirl showed up to school an hour early because the time had changed, and she didn't realize. And well, yeah, the long story short, she never made it back home. So that tragic event made them stop that. I don't know how true it is. My grandmother told me, and I'm like, that makes sense. So I never got that coming up. I was introduced that by living in America. I don't like it. Okay, so the next one, it's like social isolation. Yeah, so the other one is vitamin D deficiency, which makes sense because the lack of sunlight. Like, it's such a gloomy day, and the sun should be out and shining and everything, and it's not, because it's winter and the clouds take over. So those were the top reasons that I found that causes depression, and well, seasonal depression. And they all go in line with everything that makes sense for me, because the season change and our bodies react to it differently. I don't like the cold. I'm always padded up, and that makes a huge difference with my mental health. And I have to remember that, hey, sometimes it's not me going crazy, and it's not me just not understanding what's happening to me, because that's the main thing about depression. You don't know, you can't put words into how you're feeling, and you're just like, I just don't feel right, I don't feel like myself. And in those moments I have to remind myself that the environment affects everything, and if the environment is changing, then there's something in the body that's changing. And I have to remember everything's connected. So when one thing's working and the other thing's not working, and when one thing feels off, everything around is connected. So that made me happy that I realized that it wasn't just me being moody or anything, even though I do get in my mood sometimes, but it wasn't that. There was another reason for it, and it's because of seasonal depression. So now that I know why I was in a mood yesterday, and I know what basically triggered it, now I can challenge myself to do more things, like be more physical. Even though I don't like the cold and everything, I can still move my body more than the one time a day in the gym. I can go somewhere, be around friends, hence the socializing part. I'm a loner, so most of the times I'm very happy being alone, and that's not good when it comes to the winter and seasonal depression, right? Because it's like during those times you want people to be around, even if it's just like hanging out and you don't really say anything. It's just their presence that makes you feel like, hey, I'm not alone, and I need to get with more of my friends. So all my friends, we need to hang out. Vitamin D, I can order some vitamin D from Amazon, because that is like one of the main things. And it's funny because it's like, I have a friend who was like, she lives in Florida, and she was like, she has to take vitamin D supplements, and she's like, yeah, I live in a sunshine state and I need to take vitamin D. And it makes sense, because we live in very dark houses and everything, where most of the time the sun doesn't come in, and if we don't go outside often, because most of the times we move from place to place and it's inside to inside, because it's like most people work inside, and when you go home, some of the houses don't actually have good lighting or good natural lighting. So when that happens, your body depletes in vitamin D, and with that, vitamin D supplements make sense. And that's something that I can do to help my body be like, hey, I know it's winter and the sun is basically trying its hardest to come out, so I can help my body by doing that. When you know what's bothering you, you can do something about it. And now that I know that I'm going to be moody sometimes during the winter, I can tackle that before it actually starts. And that's always the good thing about knowing what's happening to you. If you know what's happening, you can always prevent it, and it won't catch you off guard.